In the times of our ancestors, when rivers still spoke and forests carried memory, three women rose whose names would echo through generations. Abebi, daughter of midwives, keeper of the calabash of birth. Maka, desert healer, child of the northern wind. Nkiruka, firstborn daughter of the gods, who walked between the realms of mortals and spirits. They lived in different lands, yet their destinies were bound, long before they breathed their first. Bound by the wisdom of women who understood that healing was not only of the body, but of the spirit and of the land. This is Herbal Wombs, modern medicine, a storytelling journey that reclaims Nigerians' women's health through ancestral memory and modern discovery. Each episode unearths the forgotten history of birth attendants, herbalists, and healers, the songs, roots, and rituals that once shaped women's care, and the modern women reviving that legacy today. It is where old knowledge meets new science, where stories heal, and where the future of women's health begins, in remembering. Hi, my name is Derunke Abdul. I'm an African storyteller, writer, researcher, and advocate. This podcast is the beginning of a long-term project, a creative expression of what it means to be modernly aware of maternal health. In this series, The Three Who Walk with the Gods, I explore pain, stereotype, forgotten history, and loss. Quick question: how many of us has lost our loved ones due to the negligence in the modern medical system? And deeper still, how many of us are afraid or know or are sure that when we approach the modern medical system, it will not give us the desired result? To answer these questions, we must go backward, before hospital, before colonial era, where everything was communal and not individual, where it was spiritual, it was educative, and it was long-lasting, where we had sustainability in community. After that, we're going to explore this through this fiction, The Three Who Walk with the Gods. It was the season of relentless rain, the year the people would later call the year of the water gods. Rivers burst their banks and swallowed farmlands whole, carrying away hot, harvest, and secrets long buried beneath the soil. The elders said the gods were restless, washing away old sins and forgotten wrongs. On one such night, Nkiruka awoke drenched in sweat. The wind battered her heart as though it meant to tear it from the earth. The door shuddered and banged, breathing in and out like a living thing. Then she heard her name. She opened the door to find the chief standing barefoot in the rain, his authority stripped away by fear. Behind him clustered men and women, villagers, strangers, faces she recognized and others she knew only from dreams. Nkiruka, the chief gasped, bowing his head. The gods are angry. A woman from the coast, one of the pale-skinned emissaries, has lain with one of our own. She carries a child of this land, but she's dying. We have tried every herb and every prayer. Only you can speak to the spirits for her. Nkiruka studied him for a long time. Then she said quietly, "The rain has unearthed more than mud tonight. It has awakened what should have remained asleep." As the chief spoke, the wind shifted behind her, carrying a voice meant for her alone, the murmur of the Orun, the spirit realm. "Call the sisters," said the goddess of fertility. "The blood of three shall break the curse of one." So, Nkiruka sent word across land and spirit, calling Abebi of the western forests, birth attendant and keeper of life, marker of the northern sounds, the healer whose roots ran deeply from desert ancestors. The storm raged for 3 days, yet on the third morning, Marka arrived. She rode a camel through the mud. In her hands she carried a gourd filled with desert herbs, powdered roots, and the breath of those who had healed before her. The ancestors guided my steps, she said, as she entered Nkirika's dwelling. The desert spoke of a woman of rain who called for help. Before Nkirika could answer, a chant rose from the forest, low, steady, and ancient. Aba Omolaye, Aba Omonire, the song of safe delivery. Abebi emerged from the mist, carrying a carved wooden stool, the stool of life, the calabashes of palm oil, shea butter, and sacred clay. Her presence stilled the air, her arms bore marking that told stories of birth she had guided. Some born of women, others born of spirit. The three women stood together, rain dripping from their garments. Time itself seemed to pause, as though the gods were holding their breaths. This womb carries more than a child, Nkirika said at last. It carries a covenant the gods wish to protect, and a cause that demands to be cleansed. None of us can do this alone. Marka inclined her head. May the old ways help us. They formed the circle around the pale-skinned woman. Fever burned through her body. Her breath became shallow and uneven. Nkirika placed her palm upon the woman's forehead, and the room filled with the scent of rain-soaked earth and smoke. Marka began to chant in the tongues of her forefathers, a song older than the mountains. She scattered herbs from her god. They burned with a blue flame that did not consume. Abebi spoke softly to the womb. She placed the stool of life beneath the woman's hips and anointed her belly with palm oil. Child of the storm, she whispered, the world waits for you. Walk the bridge of your mother's breath. Be born in peace. Their voices braided together, and Nkirika's body began to tremble. Her spirit was pulled beyond flesh and bone. Her eyes rolled white, and when she spoke, it was no longer her voice. The water remembers, the gods intoned through her. The cause lies in the blood carried across the sea, but mercy shall be born through pain. This child will carry both shadow and light. Thunder cracked the sky, the fire leapt, the earth groaned, then the cry came, sharp, fierce, alive. The child was born. Nkirika collapsed to her knees, drained and paled. She will heal what has been broken. Between people, between faith, between lands. But one day, she must choose between her divine blood and her human heart. By dawn, the rain had softened into a hush. Villagers who had gathered in fear now knelt in reverence. They had seen women speak with gods and pull life from the edge of death. The emissary, weak but alive, whispered through tears, "You have saved not only my child, but my faith." "Raise her gently," Nkirika said, touching her cheek. "Teach her that every breath is sacred, but you must not leave this land. Her life is bound to it." At the river bank, the final rites were performed. Marka washed her hands with sacred herbs. Abebi poured libations for the living and the dead. Nkirika whispered into the water, sending their words back to the heavens. "The world will forget us," she said softly. "Men will write us out of history, but our work will live on in every ila, every midwife, every prayer whispered over a birthing body." The water rippled. When the villagers looked again, the women were gone. Only distant thunder remained, slow, steady, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. And so, the story spread from southern forest to northern dews of Abebi, the birth giver, Marka, the healer, and Nkirika, daughter of the gods. The three who walked with the gods to bring life where death had settled. Before the white coat arrived, there were women who carried entire worlds in their palms. Women who knew the language of leaves. Women who understood the mathematics of childbirth long before it was written in textbooks. Women who spoke to spirits, to rivers, to winds, and they listened back. This story begins with the three fictional characters. Abebi, Marka, and Nkirika are fictional, but they embody the knowledge and practices of actual Nigerian healers. Before the white coat, Nigerian society had an intricate network of healers, each with specialized knowledge. The responsibility of childbirth across Nigerian societies rested on the knowledge of traditional birth attendants, women whose expertise was inherited, practiced, and spiritually guided. Across northern and southern Nigeria, traditional birth attendants played parallel yet culturally distinct roles, shaped by language, belief, and social organization. Among the Hausa, the Ngozuma served as the primary guide through pregnancy and childbirth long before the arrival of hospitals. Her work combined practical delivery skills with herbal knowledge, emotional reassurance, and moral support, often within the bounds of Islamic prayer and norms of female seclusion. While not all Ngozumas were full herbal specialists, most possessed remedies and techniques specific to childbirth, learned through apprenticeships with elder women. Among the Yoruba, the Agbebi, literally the receiver of birth, was a highly respected specialist whose role blended with technical expertise and spiritual authority. Agbebi were trained through long apprenticeships, frequently within female kin networks, mastering massage techniques, herbal preparations, and ritual speech such as chants and incantations. Childbirth in Yoruba was both a physical and spiritual event, and the Agbebi mediated between these realms, invoking protection and balance while ensuring safe delivery. Regional variations existed across areas such as Oyo, Ekiti, and Ijesha, but the core role remained consistent. Among the Igbo, traditional midwives were most commonly known as Nwanyiyomu, meaning woman of childbirth. In many communities, these women emerged from families associated with healing or ritual knowledge. Beyond assisting labor and postpartum care, Nwanyiyomu often worked in tandem with divination practices, especially in cases of difficult births, infertility, or repeated infant loss. Childbirth was understood as a moment of profound cosmological significance, requiring harmony between the physical body, personal destiny, ancestors, and spiritual forces. In some regions, when the midwives also functioned as a healer or diviner, she might be referred to as Dibiaomo. Taken together, Ngozuma, Agbebi, and Nwanyiyomu represent culturally grounded systems of maternal care that integrated medical skill, emotional guidance, and spiritual insight. Though their titles, rituals, and emphasis varied regionally and linguistically, all three roles reflect African mythologies in which childbirth was never merely biological, but a deeply social and spiritual passage requiring experienced women to guide mother and child safely into the world. Europeans would later claim midwifery as science, but for centuries before they arrived, women like Abebi, Maka, and Nkirika were the doctors, counselors, therapists, and guardians of life. Childbirth in pre-colonial Nigeria was not simply a biological event. It was a spiritual crossing, a threshold between the living and the yet to be born. Healing was not separated from spirituality. There was no divide between medicine and belief. Midwives performed chants, divinations, herbal applications, and emotional support together, a complete system long before Western science divided the body into parts. Shrines, rivers, groves, courtyards, these were the indigenous clinics, and birth attendants were revered not just as helpers, but as protectors of destiny. The collaboration of three midwives, as seen in this story, was not unusual. When a birth was dangerous, women called upon one another, knowledge merging with knowledge, spirit merging with spirit. This episode remembers them, and through memory, we restore something that has long been forgotten, that healing was a part of us before it was eroded by others.